Hello, good people. Spot of Nerd here with a brand new episode that I am so excited to talk about because it's probably something that you have not even heard of, or even if you have heard of it, I doubt very much that you thought they would actually go ahead and do a sequel, but holy shit, do I have to talk about, I swear on my mother's grave, one of the best films that I have ever seen in my entire life. It's so bad, but it's so good. We have got to talk about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Part 2. Seriously, people, I am not shitting you one bit. This is one of the greatest films I have ever seen. 4 cups of tea out of 4 from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. And we're going to talk about it in this episode because it is just that freaking good. Quick heads up, probably going to spoil it if you give any shits whatsoever. But at the same time, one of the biggest things I would tell you right out of the gate, if you haven't seen the first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, you might want to go and watch that first if you haven't seen it already, or if you have any desire whatsoever to see that film. Because, I mean, when I first heard, this was a few years back now, when I first heard that they were going to make a horror film off of Winnie the Pooh, I mean, you laugh, you just think like, oh my god, it's whatever, it's stupid, it's what, blah. But then you actually watch the film, and I've talked about it on this channel, the first film. When you watch that first film, you're like, holy shit, this thing is gold. This is epic. This is legendary. And the best part about it is, especially with this sequel, they got a much bigger budget and they utilized it beautifully. So we're going to talk about it here in just a moment. Obviously, if you haven't already, I would love you all so much if you could go ahead, hit that subscribe button right down below. Give me the likes, thumbs up, comment, the whole 9 yards. Tell me if you've seen this. The first one, the second one, if you give any shits whatsoever. But my god, please go and watch this film. Seriously, people. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2. Part 1 first if you haven't seen it, because holy shit, this movie is so freaking badass. But let me give you the quick synopsis, specifically of this second film. Long story short, Winnie the Pooh and his crew, we'll just call them the crew from 100 Acre Wood, we now get introduced to Owl and Tigger. And it's some of the most badass characters in a horror. Now, again, so much up here that I want to just get out, but imagine a thriller horror gore fest with Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger. You can't get better than that. And it is so, the way they do it is so fucking horrible. It's gold. It's just, I'm going to repeat myself a lot in this episode because you can just tell I'm just so excited to talk about it. But damn, this movie is fucking badass. So anyway, the first film ended with, so Winnie the Pooh, Piglet and all, they start killing people, and Christopher Robin turned, basically the town, I think his town was Ashton, they think he's crazy. So, you know, he starts telling people like about the murders and his girlfriend got murdered and yada yada yada. Everybody thinks he's a loopy crazy person. And the second film basically picks up right where it left off, but in this film, what's happening is Winnie the Pooh and crew are actually now taking the fight to the people. So I love what they've done in terms of, in the beginning of the first film and then now in the second film, they kind of do this little introduction of kind of what you've missed since the last film. And what I mean by that is they start off mentioning Christopher Robin and his journey since the horror and the gore and the murders of the first film. So what's happening is the town, like I said, they think he's crazy, they think he's nuts, they don't want anything to do with him, they're shaming him, all that good stuff. At the same time, you also have people that believe him, that are also essentially going out into 100 Acre Wood to try and find Winnie the Pooh and kill them, because in the first film, they left bodies everywhere. Blood, no pun intended, a blood trail everywhere, or whatever that metaphor is for thriller films. So that's where we start the second film off. You have Christopher Robin is trying to move on with his life. The rest of town continues to kind of drill into him that he's a psycho, yada yada yada. But then, like I said, Owl starts kind of getting this idea and talking to Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and basically saying, we need to take the fight to them, aka the humans in the town. It's like, God, there's so much to say, but at the same time, I don't want to go overboard here. Imagine, for instance, the way they kind of detail this movie. Winnie the Pooh was essentially created by a mad scientist. This mad scientist hired like just some random janitor from Christopher Robin's school and kidnapped children. A few years back, basically mutated the DNA of these children with animals, thus creating Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, Owl, supposedly more characters because they actually signed on for a third film. I shit you not. And then it goes from there. So the question you have to ask yourself is, well, hold on a second. If Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Owl, if they were created like this, born like this, if they were made like this as children, wouldn't that mean that Christopher Robin is basically a psychopath because he was literally talking to these kids that were, Winnie the Pooh blood fest all over, blood all over his face and eating humans? That's what it gets at. It gets at the fact that Christopher Robin is a fucking psycho. Genuine psycho. And it's what I'm leading to is because in the movie, they even do flashbacks. I shit you not, people. You get to see a young Christopher Robin playing with a young Winnie the Pooh who is literally murdering people and killing people. And it's so fucking good. It's so good. This is why I'm so excited and so passionate about this film. It has a fucking better story than anything that Marvel or Star Wars has given us in the last decade. I shit you not. Hand to God. Better story than anything Disney has given their audience in the last decade. So then we get to the overall, well, what's the point of this and why make a sequel? Well, like I said, so now Winnie the Pooh and crew are taking the fight to the town. They start murdering people, and all of a sudden people start realizing, holy shit, Christopher Robin was right. These things exist. Winnie the Pooh murdering a murdering bear exists. So then they release Tigger, and it's just so fucking good.
Fuck it, let's bounce.
That's my line.
There's this one club scene, and I'm gonna spoil this a lot, but at the same time, it's just that awesome. There's a club scene where, a lot of younger kids are dancing around provocatively, and so that's where Al basically says, that's where you guys go ahead and have some fun. He's all fucking psychopath and murdering.
Time for you and Tigger to have some fun.
You look so good.
Thank you. Have a look at this dickhead.
What the fuck is he wearing?
He looks fucking stupid.
And so what Winnie the Pooh does, he has a bear trap. You've seen those in the woods, like a bear trap that catches your foot or whatever it is. So he goes into the club, and so he's already murdered somebody on the outside, and he walks into the club because this this one girl is running through, like she's just seen the murder and she's freaking out. So Winnie the Pooh throws this bear trap. It latches onto her head. He pulls it right off, so her head just goes clean off. This is the best part. He's got like this metal rod in his hand, and like a baseball, boom, just splatters it into 1,000 pieces. It's so freaking good, people. I cannot tell you enough. And then once Tigger, like, if anything, I'm almost the only, I would say, a little bit of a nitpick. Tigger only is shown in the second half of the film, so they kind of tease him in the beginning and they finally release him from his cage. But he has all the humor that he does from the cartoon. If you've ever grown up with Winnie the Pooh, you know that Tigger is kind of funny and loopy and I'm Tigger, whatever the fuck his phrase is. That's exactly who he is when he's murdering people. It's fucking gold. He's just like, he's messing one of the ladies, I should say, in the club scene. She's wearing like these feathers, like she's trying to look like an angel, and he's like, well, we got to clip those wings. And he obviously has his claws, and he's just tearing. Here's where the best thing from these films come in, is the gore. I cannot just tell you the level of gore that is in this film. I mean, you're talking in the very beginning, it starts off with a trailer, and then there's these three ladies are doing like a horoscope thing, and they're trying to talk to the dead or whatever it is. So Winnie the Pooh obviously goes in and messes around with these ladies, but one of them catches fire. Like, this girl is literally on fire. The other one, he's just breaking her limbs as she's still alive, and then when he's done with her, he rips her arm off and shoves it into her face. It's fucking gold, people. Gold. Absolute gold.
Okay, survive. Who's the abomination now?
Owl, again, such an amazing villain. Amazing villain. One of his ways that he kills is by vomiting acid onto the people's face so that they melt. It's fucking amazing. And if you're worried about what I'm talking about and how excited I am about murder and death, it's okay. I am not that person, but I'm just simply saying how incredibly done this film was, if that's words at all or whatever. But yeah, again, there's just so many. You can just tell, having this bigger budget, they really took advantage of not only creating, like I've said, a solid foundation. Like, this is shit that could go on for a lot more movies, and I'm gonna get into that as we finish up this episode. But there's so many different ways and directions you could take this, from the DNA to transforming kids to Winnie the Pooh and his crew. Supposedly, we haven't even seen all the characters yet. So in the third film, rumor has it we're gonna get to see Rabbit, because we haven't seen Rabbit yet. The first film, we didn't even get to see what's his face? Donkey. Is it Donkey? Here's the best part. Supposedly in the first film, we're just gonna call him Donkey. Donkey is dead because Winnie the Pooh and his crew almost starved to death, so they had to eat him. They literally had to eat their friend Eeyore. Eeyore, that's his name. So yeah, so in the first film, they have to eat Eeyore because otherwise they starve. This is the best part about the second movie. So, major spoilers here. In the beginning of the film, the guys that actually believe Christopher Robin go into the 100 Acre Woods actually do come across Winnie and Piglet. Obviously, one of the guys manages to get a shotgun shot off and blows Piglet's head away. So you think, oh my god, holy shit, they're killing off one of the major characters. At the end of the film, there's obviously a final showdown between Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh. And obviously, Christopher Robin puts an axe right through Winnie the Pooh's head. It's fucking dope as hell. It's amazing. It's crazy awesome. So then you're thinking like, oh my god, you've just killed off the main villain. You've just killed off the main character. What's gonna happen here? And then you get to the credits. And this is like, you have to, this is why it has 4 cups of tea out of 4 cups of tea from yours truly, Spotted Nerd. This is where it gets so many, like, give it an Oscar. I swear to you, give this movie an Oscar. Because, so, you have the scene, they're back in their little, like, hideout. So you have Owl, you have Tigger, and you have the bodies of Winnie the Pooh sitting on his throne, and you have Piglet sitting in the chair. And all of a sudden you start seeing, like, they regenerate. And that's where you find out earlier on in the film, you can't kill these things. You can't kill Winnie the Pooh. You can't kill Owl and all this other stuff. Even though his head, Piglet's head, is fucking gone. But you see it start to regenerate. And obviously that's just from the experiments that were done and yada yada yada. But here's the best part. Do you know how they regenerate? Drum roll. Da, 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 da. Fucking honey. Honey. I shit you not. You could not make it any more cliche than Winnie the Pooh and a jar of honey that basically brings them back to life. So much winning, people. So fucking much winning.
With a hefty, happy appetite, he's a hefty, happy Pooh.
Oh, bother. Empty again. Only the sticky parts left.
A jar of honey, which Winnie the Pooh loves, is what brings him back to life. The writers who thought about this and the catchphrases, like, again, I have to go back right before Winnie the Pooh takes an axe to the face. I shit you not. You see the film, like, Christopher Robin is doing the whole, like, with the whole axe, and you see the last second of Winnie the Pooh going, oh bother.
Oh, bother.
It's like, it's so fucking dope. If you don't know the catchphrase, that Winnie the Pooh, his catchphrase is, oh bother.
Oh, bother.
And that, right before he's dead, it's just, oh bother. It's so fucking good. And then a jar of honey is what brings him back to life. It's so fucking good, people. Seriously, if there is, like I've mentioned this very briefly before, we always do a best and worst of the year so like 2024. I shit you not, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2 is number 1 right here, right now. It's taking the top spot. I don't even know if Deadpool and Wolverine can pull it off, but shit, Winnie the Pooh is going to take this right now. So we will just leave it with there. So if you aren't freaked out, if you're not freaked out enough about what we're talking about here, or the fact that I'm a little too excited about death and murder and gore, I get it. I'm not that person, just to be very clear. I just love the cheesy, the cliche, the just tragically terrible film that this was, but yet so incredible. All because of one thing and one thing only. It gave us a story. It gave us something that we haven't seen before. It gave us something that was superior to what every other studio and streaming service has provided us to this date. I shit you not. Spot of Nerd, hand to heart. With all of that said, folks, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not freaked out, again, I'd love your thoughts. Let me know. All that other good stuff. But until next time, folks, we will see you guys next time. I gotta figure that other phrase out. Okay, so I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking like, okay, what are they gonna do in a third Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 3? Obviously, you can introduce other characters like Rabbit, and, you know, you can kind of maybe explore the story a little bit more about with the regeneration aspect and things like that, yada, yada, yada. But then I was thinking about other, like, childhood stories, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what did I used to watch that would be almost like equivalent to this kind of, you know, gore, thriller, violent, murderous type film, but cheesy and cliche like this is Winnie the Pooh. And I thought of the perfect candidate. What if there was a Thomas the Tank Engine?
Jesus, stay back!
Now, fucking, if you don't know what Thomas Tank Engine is, where have you been in life? But how fucking badass would it be if there was a thriller, murder, gore slasher featuring Thomas the Tank Engine? Toot, toot.